What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with MoneyVest. So markets here selling off intraday, and we are done with the week. We're done with the month, and we are done with the quarter. So Q3 is finally in the books. September is finally in the books. We are done with this brutal month here. And of course, starting next week on Monday, we start fresh. October 1st, new week, new month, and a new quarter, the last quarter of 2023 is going to be upon us. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. And the link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining. And of course, getting access to all the buy and sell alerts, options alerts, trade ideas, everything is going to be included. We'd love to have you on board. And there again is 2 more days left for that 16% annual discount. So again, if you want to get access to all the member benefits, including the members only private videos, links are going to be down below, and we'd love to have you on board. So first things first, the Dow shedding over 100 points Friday, S&P and Nasdaq wrapping the worst month in 2023. So this should not come as a surprise because September seasonality-wise has been brutal, and in the month of September, the markets were down. S&P was down almost 5%, so 4.87% to be precise. The Nasdaq Composite down over 5.81, so almost 6%, and the Dow Jones here was down a little bit over 3.5%. NDX, which is your Nasdaq 100, down a little bit over 5% as well. And of course, the U.S. 10-year yields were up over 11%, and then rounding up with crude oil in the month of September up over 8.75%, and then finally the dollar index up a little bit over 2.4% as well. So dollar index, crude oil, and the yields pushing higher. The Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq all pushing lower. So, and the volatility, of course, in the month of September was also up almost 30%. So big move to the upside, but glad it is over. It's finally over, and we are going to start with Q4 on Monday, and Q4 seasonality-wise has usually been one of the best months in the market as well. The Fed's favorite inflation indicator rose less than expected in August. So this right here, the personal consumption expenditure numbers came out. So PCE, that's the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. And you'll notice that month over month, it increased by 0.4%. This right here is going to be personal consumption expenditures month over month, 0.4%. Once again, significantly lower than what the Federal Reserve was expecting, or in other words, what the market was expecting at 0.9%. And the consensus again was 0.5% here. We increased by 0.4%. This was the prior number, by the way. And then year over year, we're sitting at 3.5% in line with what the consensus was. And then core PCE, which is what Federal Reserve really focuses on, came in line with what the consensus was at 3.9%. And that's really what the market's expectations were. But of course, significantly lower than the prior numbers. So we are, again, slowing down and coming down with core inflation. But it's still nowhere near close to the Fed's target. It's still almost twice as much as the Fed's target. Now, this right here was the market. So Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Micron, all pushing higher with financials struggling a little bit. Energy stocks struggling a little bit, healthcare, consumer defensives, comm services all pulling back and slightly rolling over. This right here is going to be the entire market. So again, you can see energy, financials, even industrials, healthcare, comm services, all of them starting to kind of roll over a little bit, and we're seeing some red, and consumer cyclicals and technology were the ones pushing higher on the day. And of course, technology cyclicals kind of leading all the day. Over the last 1 week, energy has been the only sector that's up over 1%. And over the last 1 month as well, energy is the only sector that's pushed higher. 10 out of 11 sectors have been selling off, and they are down at least over 2.89%, if not more than that, with real estate, the worst performing sector, down over 8%, and technology down over almost 6.11% in the last 1 month. Orange juice for the win, so pushing higher, 1.6. We got heating oil, volatility, all pushing higher, with soybean, gasoline, lean hogs, wheat prices, all of them selling off. Bitcoin's a little bit under 27,000, and Ether also just over 1,600 as well at the moment. So coming back over to crude oil, starting to see a bit of a pullback. So we are selling off right from that $93, $94 a barrel level. So we talked about that high for the day at 93, and we're starting to see a bit of a pullback considering that the RSI also is rolling over, and there is a bit of a negative divergence also in the RSI with respect to crude oil. So we're starting to see that pullback, and that next support really is going to be at $80, $81 per barrel for crude. So very, very important level to pay attention to for crude oil. And of course, volatility here. We started lower, so we kind of gapped down intraday. So we opened at as low as 15, And then intraday, we saw a very significant move to the upside, right? So even if you come over to the S&P 500 on a 30-minute time frame, you'll notice that we gapped up. So we had a pretty nice open, but then we, of course, started selling off intraday. So this right here was the entire sell-off intraday for the market for S&P 500, and that's a drop of a little bit over 1%, I believe. So just over 1.12%, which again, it's a pretty sizable move, right? A lot of people might look at just the day and it's down about 27 basis points. No big deal. It was a flat day, but the real focus needs to be the intraday move, right? How was the momentum intraday in the last 6 hours, 7 hours? How did the markets trade? And well, guess what? Not that great, right? Because as soon as we gapped up, we've just been selling off lower and lower. Same thing with the Nasdaq. You'll notice that we gapped up at 13,300. We at one point were down over 1.5%, and then we pretty much closed down 1.23% intraday, even though the Nasdaq kind of eked out a small gain of about 14 basis points. So nonetheless, intraday momentum was very weak, and that resulted in, of course, closing out the month down a little bit over 5%. Now, going over to the 10-year yields, they have been pushing higher, as we have done several videos on this topic, so make sure that you do check that out. But right now, we're sitting at just under 4.6% here on the 10-year yields. So very, very strong move to the upside, of course, as the supply continues to hit the market from both a government and a corporate perspective. Going over to S&P 500 on a more broader level here. So what you'll notice is that we got rejected at around that resistance at 43.25, 4,300. So we didn't quite were able to break out past this level. And I talked about the mother of all trends, in other words, the moat. And what you'll notice is that this right here is the higher low. So this is the ascending support for the S&P 500. And right now, of course, we came down to that level, then of course got bought up. And right now that resistance is going to be 4,300. And right now we're seeing that intraday move lower, and we are starting to obviously sell off from that resistance. So that right there, that higher low, is going to be very, very important. That's a support level that everybody is probably going to be watching for S&P 500 from a technical perspective. Now, talking about the Nasdaq, it's already started to break down from its higher low. So that's obviously something that we have discussed. So it's not similar to the S&P 500. However, it is still going to be at a support of 13,150. So this right here, inside this green rectangle, is going to be inside this green circle, that's still going to be a very important support level to watch for the Nasdaq at around 13,150, as again we have talked about in our previous videos. Talking about Apple here, so Apple has also been struggling at around 172, 173. So once again, you'll notice that this is where we are getting rejected a little bit at 172, 173, around those levels. And of course, we have just been trading inside this downtrending channel of lower highs and unfortunately lower lows as well for Apple. So this right here has been pretty much the downtrending channel for this company right now. The next support really is going to be down in the 150s, so 157 to be precise, is going to be a far better support for Apple. Amazon here, once again, just consolidating sideways. We have been oversold, so RSI MACD definitely very oversold. So we did get a little bit of a bounce back higher, up over 90 basis points. But again, intraday, there was a lot of weakness. There was a lot of momentum to the downside. Support level is going to stay put roughly around this lower low, and also in line with this horizontal support sitting roughly at around $126 all the way down to as low as 121. So this right here is going to be that next support level to watch for Amazon, of course. And right now we've just been trading inside this downtrending channel of lower highs and lower lows. Talking about Tesla. And Tesla here managed to close above 240, right? So very, very good job of Tesla bulls here, pushing up 1.5%, still validating that higher low. So very, very nice move to the upside. This is the ascending support or the higher low that we talked about. And of course, Tesla here getting bought up and pushing back higher. This is going to be that lower high for Tesla. So that's the resistance that we talked about in one of our previous videos. Again, consistently making lower highs and lower lows, but in the context of this uptrend of this higher highs and higher lows. So 240 inside this green circle, very, very important level of support, with a resistance sitting all the way up to 268 right now in the near term. Of course, if you do get a breakdown below this, don't forget Tesla's delivery numbers are also coming out, I believe. I don't think it's going to be this Sunday because Tesla's quarter is not going to close until September 30th. So today, actually, it may come out on Sunday, October 1st. I have to check. I think it might be due for Sunday, October 1st, right? So Tesla delivery numbers for the third quarter may be coming out here. There we go. I think the range is going to be somewhere between 440 and 445. And let's see, longer than expected factory downtimes. Doesn't exactly say when they're going to be releasing. I believe it's going to be on October 1st. Usually comes out on Sunday. So that's going to be, on the radar. Obviously, it's going to move the stock on Monday morning. But nonetheless, everyone's expected 450,000, 460,000. Let me know your consensus down below in the comments. But this right here is going to be that higher low at $240. Talking about NVIDIA. And Nvidia here continues to push higher, so red candle on a green day, so 95 basis points move to the upside. But support level is going to stay put at roughly around $400. So this right here is going to be that level to watch for Nvidia. We've talked about this plenty of times in the past. Now, advanced micro devices, almost an identical pattern, right? So green day, but a red candle, suggesting a lot of weakness intraday. We're still in the context of this downtrending channel of lower highs and lower lows. We did see a little bit of a breakdown, but of course, with AMD and the Microsoft's chief, basically boosting AMD's, not really dominance, but entrance into the artificial intelligence world, definitely did result in a very strong rally yesterday, 4.78%. So we are back above $100. So this right here is going to be that support level to watch for advanced micro devices. So that's going to be that support, and of course, we got that resistance at that lower high for advanced micro devices. Talking about PayPal. And PayPal here, once again, struggling a little bit, just consolidating sideways, a little bit over $58 right now, so up almost 0.5% at the moment. And PayPal's support, as we have already mentioned, is going to be at $57, $58. So this right here, very, very important level of support and resistance and gap to fill in the 60s. So $67, $68 for PayPal and at those prices. Square also selling off intraday. I mean, gosh, there was just so much weakness intraday from a lot of these companies that almost all of them ended up selling off here, and support level is going to stay put at $42, $43. So this right here is going to be that level to watch, and a resistance, of course, inside this red rectangle, and we are looking at $50, $52 per share for Square at the moment as a resistance. Oversold RSI, oversold MACD, so there is opportunity, but of course there's a lot of weakness for Square right now as well, given the circumstances with technology and more specifically with fintech stocks that have almost all been selling off recently. Talking about Meta platforms, and Meta here selling off intraday. Look where we got rejected perfectly, right? At this lower high. So we pretty much got rejected at that lower high, selling right back down, down to $300. And of course, if you do get a breakdown below this level, next support is going to be all the way down to 257, 258 for Meta platforms. So this right here is going to be that lower high and that lower low for Meta platforms, and that next support is going to be down to $250, $260 per share for Meta. But first support is going to be at $299, close to $300. Talking about Netflix here, Netflix also just consolidating sideways, kind of rounding out at that support at around 380s. So that inside this green rectangle, we've got oversold RSI, oversold MACD. There's a possibility, very similar to Square, that we do see a potential move back to the upside. 398, close to $400 is going to be that support level, that resistance level to watch, and support inside this green rectangle obviously is going to be the one to watch. Google here, on the other hand, also pulling back. Next support is going to be at 127. So red day and a red candle, down almost 1%. This right here is actually going to be a bit of a support at around 131, 132. So this will still be a reasonable support to watch going into next week, but below that 127, and of course my fair value is going to be sub $100. And finally, we get to Microsoft validating this support. We're back above that level at around $314, $313 per share. We'll go ahead and turn this level back into a support, but right now we're still very much in the context of a downtrend, so we're still making this lower high and this lower low, and that next support is going to be down here all the way down to sub 300, closer to 292 for Microsoft moving forward. And then finally, we get Enphase and Shopify. Enphase still consolidating sideways, so not really going anywhere. Huge resistance sitting at 128. And of course, we got that green rectangle and that support sitting roughly at around 116, 115 in the low 100s for Enphase. And then finally, we get Shopify. Shopify here pushing a little bit higher back above that resistance. Again, it could be an oversold bounce from an RSI MACD perspective, considering how oversold these things are. And support level is going to stay but roughly around $54, $55. So we'll go ahead and turn this level back into a support. Resistance all the way up to $66, $67 per share for Shopify. So hope you guys are just as happy as I am that this month and this quarter is over. Next week is going to be quite interesting for the markets, in my opinion, because we've got fresh new data of inflation, of unemployment, of the Federal Reserve meeting. All that's going to be back on the radar for the markets next week. But so far, all we're witnessing is, of course, some pullbacks and some corrections for the market. We're down about 8 to 10% from their recent highs. It just creates a lot of market opportunities, lots of deals to take advantage of. So nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be, kind of going crazy over. But of course, patience and discipline is going to really what's going to matter over the next couple of weeks here as the buying opportunity and the window continues to open up for us. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget, there is a 16% annual discount available till the end of this month. So 2 more days left. Link's going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board. Get access to all the benefits. I did open up a couple more spots for members just in the last couple of days here. So link's going to be down below. So always happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.